Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of Aaron's Book Club. I have a book review to do today, one that I'm kind of, I don't know if I want to say sad that it's over, but I really enjoyed this book. So this is a book that I picked up with my, was it Thrift Books deal or my Book Depot deal? That I picked it up not knowing anything about it, and I just really loved the cover. And so I read it to see if the cover holds up to the story, and let me tell you, it really does. So the book I have to review today is The Perfect Horse: The Daring Rescue of Horses Kidnapped During World War II. And this cover, if you can have a quick look at the cover, if you look closely, you can see this here shadow is actually somebody fighting, and the mane is like aerial combat. Just really, really well done. And then that cover comes around to the back, and it's written. I think there's a grown-up version of it, and this is like the young author or young readers version of it. And I don't know if I would have enjoyed the grown-up version of it, because even the younger version of it was a little bit harsh. So I'm going to read the back to you, let you know what we're up against. When a small troop of American soldiers captured a German spy during World War II, they uncovered an unexpected secret. Hitler has kidnapped the world's finest purebred horses and hidden them in the secret Czech breeding farm. But starving Russian troops are drawing closer, and the horses face a danger of being slaughtered for food. There is little time to spare, and Colonial Hank Reed and his soldiers must cross enemy lines to heroically save some of the world's most treasured animals. In this thrilling young readers edition, of her New York Times best-selling book, Elizabeth Letts highlights the bravery in the face of incredible odds. This tale will shed light on a little-known piece of our past and speak to history fans and animal lovers of every age. So, Elizabeth, let me just say, the author here, Elizabeth Letts, is the same author of The $80 Champion. So that's cool. I can put the two of them together. So, where do I even begin? Adapted for young readers. Let's start there. Yes, it's adapted for young readers, which makes it really easy to read and really quick to read, which in my hectic lifestyle is always a good thing. However, it doesn't really dumb down the horridness of war, and it tiptoes around Hitler's final solution, and the back of it goes more into where the final solution came from and how it stemmed out from breeding livestock. The atrocities of this war were kind of tucked in the background as you read it, and maybe it's because I'm coming from a more adult background or more adult perspective. You can see it in what she writes. There's lots of close calls in the war that she talks about. In fact, there is one scene where I think I will never get out of my head, where they're trying to rescue the Polish Arabians, and as such, they're leading these thousands of animals to another town that they think will be safe, and then just as they arrive, there's an air raid by the Americans where many of these horses are killed, and they talk about the mares and foals following, because it was all the stallions that went first, and they see some of their precious and priceless stallions dead on the side of the street from bombing. The politics never leaves any of it. Like, even though it's written in a kind of perspective where you still got the America, oorah, we're amazing because we're American and we're doing these things, the politics of it didn't change, and it was written in such a way that some of the questionable moves of the Americans was written off as a good thing. Like, they took some of these prized animals and took them to their own country. So instead of putting them back into the country where they belong, like these Polish Arabians, and like it's the best of the horses that were left in this liberated camp. They picked and chose the best of what they wanted to put into their army breeding program, and the Polish Arabian, there was two main ones that were taken, and at the end of the war there was conflict on, now we want our horses back, and they never actually got them back. And it was written about it in the book, but then on the flip side it was said, okay, so they never got their famous horses back, but they have to look at this horse as being sent to America as an ambassador of the breed. That doesn't work if the horse is just kind of taken, against the will. And they wrote it off as, we only chose horses that we couldn't trace the ancestry to the owners of. That could be fudged, and the one Arabian that they took, which was this well-bred, priceless Polish Arabian stud, he was actually used in the making of the Black Stallion, and in the movie too of the making of the Black Stallion. And they kind of leaned a lot towards that, and less towards, yeah, he probably should have been back in Poland and helped to raise the Poland Arabian breeding stock, because 80% of those horses died. Same with the Lipizans. Now, they talked about how the Lipizans were also rescued by America, but it was actually a German soldier who liberated the Lipizan school at the end of the war, which made it possible for America to come and rescue them. So, sorry, that was Hazel. So it was interesting. The harrowing experiences that all these people had to go through, and the men that had to stand and protect these horses at the expense of maybe even their family. It was an interesting dynamic, but it was also interesting to see history written by the victor kind of thing. I think that if this was written by, say, the Polish people, or by people of Lipizan, or where the Lipizan horses came from, we would probably have a different ending. It would probably be a lot less, yeehaw, we are the winners. I don't know. It a very good book, very real book, but even though it's adapted for young readers, there's a lot to think about too. So I guess that's all I have to say about The Perfect Horse, and I will let you know when I have another book read. Thanks, guys.